up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Trust Your Board podcast. My name is Stephen Wright, joined by Mr. William Monroe. Will, how you doing?
Doing well, Steve. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. I can't complain. Quite stormy here, which is fun. But other than that, good. It was a good hot weekend. How about you?
Yeah, hot weekend here as well. I was actually at the beach myself, so got some good color. Did a pretty good job at getting my reapply of sunscreen throughout the few days there. So good amount of color, but not too burnt. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, good work. I haven't been burnt all year. I took the stance of it's just never again, and I just lather with anything.
There you go. One and done.
Yeah, absolutely. Training camp has started. We got a lot to get through today, so I don't think we could talk about too much, but it is here, and the rumors and the talk is just, it's madness.
The hype train is a rolling for many a player right now.
Yeah, and you got to choose to believe, choose what to believe, really. I saw a tweet the other day that said in OTAs, MVS looked like he was going to be the wide receiver, and now training camp, Juju is dominating in KC, so it looks like it's going to be him. So it's like, throw your dart at which one you want to believe. I guess training camp is a little bit more believable than OTAs, but does anyone really know? You don't know. Who knows?
And those will be the ones to keep an eye on, just, who's getting the most buzz throughout the Kansas City and the Green Bay wide receiver core there.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
but even when we get to the season, we still probably won't truly know who it is. So take it with a grain of salt. Take the guy that you like the best.
Yeah, and then the other one I keep seeing come up, his name is escaping me. Who was the wide receiver that Pittsburgh drafted?
George Pickens.
Pickens, there you go, man. Highlight after highlight.
Ton of it. But that's the thing. Like he was anticipated to be like one of the top guys going into this season, and then he got hurt at the end, or going into last season. Yeah, he got hurt either in training camp or at the very end of the previous year. But he made his way back and played in the playoffs and in the championship sparingly as well. So he definitely seemed like a good discount get for them in the fourth round, because he definitely had first round pedigree.
Yeah, he is. He's looking good.
Yeah. We all kind of assumed that would mean likely that Deontay Johnson would be either traded or not re-signed, but he signs his extension right as we're seeing all this hype for his teammate.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe that puts if Claypool has another down year, then maybe he's the one that ends up going. Deontay was only a 2-year deal, so we'll see. It's interesting. It's a good spot to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, we got a packed mock today because we got a lot of rounds. So we're doing a fan requested one here, Will. It's a big one. We got an 8-team, 2 quarterback, 3 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, and a bunch of bench spots. So an interesting one. We haven't done a 2 QB this year, right? We've done some super flexes, but I don't think
no true 2 QBs. Which I think the true 2 QB makes sense here when you're 10 or lower team wise, and this is an 8-team draft, so it makes a little more sense to be able to have everyone get 3 quarterbacks, maybe even more, when you only have 8 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are doing it on Fantasy Pros. Just thinking they're probably gonna be a little bit better with Sleeper than with the 2 QB stuff. Sleeper tends to just draft all QBs in the beginning. So this should be hopefully a little bit more spread out, but obviously more quarterback heavy. You are in the 4. Our good fan is in the 4 spot. So we put you in the 4, we put me in the 5. That kind of gives you 2 simulations there, since we're back to back. So far, we had to start the mock. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, and Christian McCaffrey went off the board with 1, 2, and 3. That puts you on the clock. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think we were kind of assuming it may go quarterback heavy, but it does seem like it took into effect the amount of running backs you need as well, as we did see those top 2 guys go there as well. So I think we have some slight direction here that he, despite being 2 QB, likes to get at least 1 running back here in the first round. So I think we'll both try to lean into that strategy and then maybe flex from there. So with those top 2 guys gone, for me, it comes down to Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook. I like Eckler as well, but I think the touchdown regression is coming there. I mean, he had so many last year. And I think we looked it up. He still would have had a good season either way, but I think the touchdown regression's coming there. I think you're going to get a lot more volume out of a Dalvin Cook or a Derrick Henry. So with Tennessee being, maybe a little bit more down, losing their top player, the top receiver, and Minnesota being still pretty much the same overall, I like that team bet a little bit better. And Dalvin Cook right here, I think, would be my my RB3. It can go either way with him and Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler right there with him. So I'm going to lock in Dalvin Cook here with the first pick here for my team. Don't have to read off too many guys because you are up now.
Yeah, that makes it easy, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is pretty easy. I like you said, I think it was the last episode I mentioned we talked about not liking Eckler because of the touchdown regression, but then we did the points and he actually still would have been like top 5 last year or something to that degree. It does make me feel better, and I do prefer that over Derrick Henry. Eckler's got the better offense. He's the better pass catcher. Henry's coming off the injury. You really don't know what that offense is going to look like. Could be a big transition year for them. He's a little bit older. I do worry about, Eckler and the touchdown regression and, maybe them getting, the rookie mixed in and, what have you. But, at this spot, he's my guy. So I'm going to go ahead and just lock in Mr. Eckler there. Gets us both started off with the running back. Derrick Henry goes off the board right after that. Patrick Mahomes. And then at the turn is Cooper Kupp and Justin Herbert. And then 2 more wide receivers go. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Pretty interesting. So now here I am. Again, 3 running backs. You could start 5 because we got 2 flex spots. We got Najee, Mixon, Swift, Aaron Jones, Barkley. Looking at our quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Kyler, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. So I'm looking, there's a lot of running backs I still like, Perrin, man, Austin Eckler and a Joe Mixon or DeAndre Swift. That's really nice. I could also just grab my quarterback and Lamar Jackson, get a great rushing quarterback there up front and get one out of the way. That's pretty appealing. So I think that will be the route that I go. I'll go. What were you thinking? Do you have something that you were set on wanting to do running back, quarterback, or?
It's interesting. The one thing I think that I would assume gets discounted here is tight end, just because there's only the one tight end.
True, yeah.
And there's 8 of us here, so I probably. I mean, Diggs is interesting as well at 4 there, but I just think there's too many big quarterback or running backs available. So probably look to go running back here and then get 1 quarterback on the next turn or on the next pick. So I can get 2 top, probably 5 or 8 running backs and still end up with a top 12 quarterback.
Okay, that works. Then I'll draft the quarterback. We'll give a running back quarterback scenario and then a running back scenario. So Lamar Jackson locked in. Want that rushing upside? You are back on the clock.
All right, so back to me here, and this is one that I've been facing, looking at Najee Harris and Joe Mixon. DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones are also in consideration here, but I've been high on Mixon all off season and hasn't changed yet. I think he is going to be a bell cow on one of the top offenses in the league, so it's pretty easy here for me to snag Joe Mixon, but I think most ADPs do have him behind Najee. Are you leaning one way on the 2 of them at this stage of the offseason, kind of seeing them usually paired up in a decision?
Not really. Yeah, not really. I think I tend to go Mixon, just because you're dealing with the weird quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati looks to be an elite unless they have Super Bowl slump kind of a deal. So I tend to lean Mixon. Day of, it's a toying cost, but they're really close.
Yeah, and this is a tough one too, because now I end up going Mixon here. We had only a few quarterbacks go, a couple receivers as well though. So Najee, Kyler Murray, and Joe Burrow on the turn with DeAndre Swift, Devontae Adams, and Deebo Samuel. So still have Aaron Jones on the board here. Saquon is solid too, but having Cook, Mixon, and Jones would be a really, really good start. Still have Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. So still have some solid quarterbacks available. Only one team behind me here doesn't have a quarterback, so I got to imagine at least one of those four probably gets through to the next round. Maybe not. Maybe everyone goes with those quarterbacks, but I just don't think I can pass up the opportunity here to get Aaron Jones, especially because you have to start 3 running backs plus the 2 flexes. The receiver position's a lot deeper here, so sounds like this is probably what happens in his drafts as well. So I'm going to be going with a pretty high running back strategy here and going to nab Aaron Jones.
Yeah, it's a solid pick. That definitely would have been what I was going to do. So that's a shame. I am rising on Barkley, so I'm pretty comfortable with Barkley here and getting a second running back. But a guy that you threw out on your last round and Stephon Diggs is still here.
Still there, I know.
It's still there, and that is a top option, and that is really hard to pass up.
So, gives you one of each too.
Yeah,
those big 3 positions.
Yeah, right. And it's a really good balance. Now, the counter is I could grab Barkley, who I'm pretty comfortable with, and then a wide receiver like a Mike Evans, Keenan Allen. They'll be there on the next turn. But then looking at running back, Kamara, Javonte, Chubb, like Zeke, they could all be there on my next turn. I'm comfortable with all of them, so I think I am going to go Diggs. I wasn't expecting to go this way, given it's 3 running back, but it's fallen this way, and I'm going to take it. Diggs, the guy that potentially be the wide receiver 1, I think, and getting him in the 3rd round here, the 6th wide receiver off the board. Yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, it's pretty normal, but in the 3rd round, it's solid. So we'll go ahead and lock him in here and see what gets back to me. Travis Kelce goes, CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams. That rounds out the 3rd. To start the 4th, we got Saquon, Tyreek, and Chubb. So a lot of the options I did want at running back go. At wide receiver, we start out Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman. At running back, we have Fournette, Kamara, James Conner, and Zeke. Kamara, I don't think he's going to be here come draft season. But, it looks like his suspension's just getting pushed off further and further. It might not be this year at all. So he seems like a smash play here. If the situation was different and we were looking at, definitely getting a 6-game suspension to start the year, something like that, I wouldn't be drafting him. But, those risks seem to be disappearing. So in the 4th round, as my running back 2, getting a quarterback and a wide receiver already, this is beautiful. Again, I don't know. I'm hesitant to even do it because I don't know if you're going to really be able to do it in a few weeks, but the opportunity's there. So I'm going to strike. We'll go ahead and draft Mr. Kamara and pitch it to you.
Yeah, and you're making it harder for me too, because now I was pretty confident in going a quarterback, but not a single one went there. So just seeing how, I guess technically team 2 could go with a 3rd quarterback, but they can only start 2. So my thought is that in all likelihood, 2, maybe 3 taken, but still having Hurts, Brady, Wilson, Dak all there. It's pretty solid. I wouldn't mind being able to grab another running back or a receiver here. You still have Mark Andrews on the board as well, which is appealing. But, with that tight end position being probably pretty devalued, given that there's only 8 teams in the league, I do think the running back or receiver looks a little bit more appealing. Mike Evans still being here, being able to get him as a top receiver option to pair with the 3 running backs I have is really, really intriguing. But you still have Leonard Fournette, Zeke Elliott, James Conner, probably a little bit more of a luxury pick there. So I think for me, Mike Evans is the pick, and then I look to grab a quarterback after that. So we're going to lock in Mike Evans. After Evans, Mark Andrews, Leonard Fournette, Jalen Hurts, Keenan Allen, Cam Akers, and Aaron Rodgers. So worked out here. I don't think I can risk waiting any longer.
That's a big ADP jump for Rodgers, I think.
Yeah. Brady, Russ, Dak Prescott all still there.
Yeah, usually below all those guys.
Yeah.
Interesting.
For me, it's Russ here. I think, they have them all next to each other, Brady, Wilson, Prescott, but I just think Russell Wilson is due for a big season this year, and it's a new team, so they're, totally could get off to a slower start, but he's got great weapons there around him, great running game. I just think the team is going to be clicking on all cylinders, so Russ is the pick here for me to get my first quarterback in the 5th round. Cannot be mad at that with the running backs that I have here. So locking in Russell Wilson, and you are up.
I think I'm going to play a bit of a game. I do want. It's going to be tough. I'd like a T. Higgins or Michael Pittman. I'd really like one of those, but I'm also staring down Zeke as just a great volume guy as my running back 3.
Running back 3 too. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then I'm looking. The team after me doesn't have any quarterbacks, so they should grab one. Team 7 here's got 3 wide receivers, so I'd like to think they're not going to grab another one. I just don't know if I can make it without 2 wide receivers going, but I'm gonna roll the dice. It's a 3 running back league. It's important to grab them up. Zeke will be a big win. So we'll lock him in. We'll see what gets back. Tom Brady goes, James Conner, AJ Brown, Dak Prescott, David Montgomery, and T. Higgins. The gamble pays off a bit.
Yeah, it's so nice that you're going to leave Michael Pittman for me with this next pick. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, not happening, my friend. So yeah, I got lucky there. AJ Brown jumped a bit in ADP. He was below Pittman and T. Higgins, jumped above both. 2 quarterbacks going, that helps. And then I predicted team 7 properly. I figured they wanted to draft a wide receiver, and they drafted 2 running backs. Which also, like, I'm going to give that team a shout out real quick. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, James Conner, and David Montgomery. Solid waited on running back. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's woof. That's pretty good. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just drafting Pittman. Sorry. As a wide receiver too, I think that makes a lot of sense. He's got one upside this year. Should connect with Matty Ice pretty well, I think. So you are back on the clock.
All right, so back to me here. We've still got all of the top tight ends outside of those top 2 with Andrews just going to last round before. So still have Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Schultz, Hawkinson, Ertz. So I think, for me, Kyle Pitts would be really nice here, but there's just too many other options that I think will be perfectly fine here in an 8-team league. So I think you got to strike again here at receiver for me. Still the quarterback that kind of top tier is gone. So Matt Stafford, solid. Obviously the upside of Trey Lance. We'll see about Carr. But I think at this point, I can wait another round and look into going either, tight end if all of them are still there next round, possibly quarterback. But I think still having some top options at wide receiver really helps. Also having some pretty high options at running back still. Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Antonio Gibson. So some solid options there if I want to go running back again. But I think receivers the play here for me. And there's still some pretty solid options. Mike Williams down there a bit, Courtland Sutton a bit as well, Brandon Cooks. I think Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, top ones available for me here. Actually, look at it. I think I might be able to get one of them next round. It's almost like tight end, wide receiver, all of them are like, oh yeah, I can get like a solid one next round, but I've only got the one pick. So, or do I think I'm going to pivot here and just lock in that second quarterback here. As much as I do like Trey Lance as well. And there are some injury concerns for Stafford until we get, truly, bigger news on that it's going to be a major impact. I think he is, still slightly above the other guys. So I'm going to lock Stafford in here with Russell Wilson, get those 2 quarterbacks out of the way. Deontay goes, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts, Travis Etienne, and Terry McLaurin. So back to me here. Still have Pitts off the board, but all those tight ends, and then still have some good wide receiver options here. So I'm going to lock my second receiver up with Courtland Sutton, getting that stack here with Russell Wilson, and still quite a few other options available for me a little bit later. So I'm going to lock in Courtland Sutton here first, and then you are up.
Oh man, I really want to draft Breece Hall.
Yeah,
just a Eckler, Kamara, Zeke, Breece Hall kind of man. Putting him in your flex, that would be that would be something else.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the top of the ADP is Trey Lance. And I
Can
want
you
that upside.
pass?
I
Yeah, can
know.
you
I don't
pass
know if
there?
I can. It's just, oh man, getting two rushing guys with Lamar and Trey Lance would be insane. Um, the reports on him so far in training camp is so back and forth. He has an amazing day and a bad day. And I guess, for a guy that's never started in the NFL, like, what do you expect, right? Yeah, and Shanahan's notorious for being incredibly difficult in training camps as well on his quarterback. So, you know, some days I'm like, oh yeah, Trey Lance is a guy, and the other days like, oh man, I don't know if I want to roll the dice. But in a 2 QB league, man, the upside would be intense.
Oh,
I
it's
just
huge.
The problem is I feel like I'm going to need to turn around in the next 2 rounds and grab like a Kirk Cousins or a Derek Carr to kind of hedge in case he blows up. But I hate doing that. I wish we knew how our fan here felt about Trey Lance, but we know how I feel. I'm locking him in. We're gonna draft Trey Lance. We'll see what gets back to me. Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins. Oh my God, George Kittle goes at the end of the 7th. DK Metcalf, Derek Carr, Mike Williams, which is a shame I wanted Mike Williams, but Breece Hall is still here.
Dude, can you pass that up?
No, absolutely not. Breece Hall's going into my flex spot. That's amazing. Brandon Cooks is here. Just to talk through some of the other options. Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon, Miles Sanders, all interesting options. Wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, who we both like, Allen Robinson, Hollywood. I don't know what we're doing with him right now. Amari Cooper, same. Jerry Judy's here. If that's a shot you want to take, Darnell Mooney. Tight ends, Waller, Schultz, Hawkinson. We still got some good options, but Breece Hall, man, he has an opportunity to be a big deal at the running back position. And I in my flex spot, I'm not passing that up. So we'll just lock him in there, man. This could not go any better.
That was perfect. Right, yeah, perfect spin for you there.
The Pittman play and then the Breece Hall, man, I'm happy.
You are cooking right now. So for me, I'm looking at two guys. I'm looking at Brandon Cooks or Josh Jacobs. Cooks will be locking in my third receiver. Jacobs, fourth running back. It comes down to, do I think I can get either of them, back to me, miss on Cooks. I'm looking at probably Hollywood Brown, Allen Robinson, Amari Cooper, Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman. So still some pretty solid options. And then, not getting Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon, Miles Sanders, does start to drop off a little more there. So I think I'm going to go with Jacobs first just to lock in that fourth running back. And I think there'll still be some solid receiver options. I'm not going to lie, if Elijah Mitchell and Miles Sanders are still there, I feel like, the drop off is coming. So I would not be opposed to locking in a fifth running back. So going to go first here, Josh Jacobs. Elijah Mitchell goes. Darren Waller, another tight end, locked in there. AJ Dillon and Brandon Cooks at the turn, Jerry Jeudy and Kirk Cousins. So I still have the option to get that one of the last top running backs on Miles Sanders, and it's going to be hard to pass up. I do like Hollywood Brown, Mooney. There's still plenty of receivers that I'd be okay with as my third receiver, but being able to get Miles Sanders and just the workload I think that he's due for just makes too much sense here for me. So gonna lock that in, position that I'm pretty strong at already. So I want to make sure I can keep that strength here. So lock in Miles Sanders.
Yeah, it's a good play. That's a good idea there. So at the running back, Chase Edmonds, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, Tony Pollard, Rashad Penny, Singletary, Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon getting some good training camp news. Splits looking like it's 55-45 right now. Kareem Hunt getting the trade talk. The team has said no, so that's kind of interesting. Wide receivers haven't changed at all. Dalton Schultz still top of the tight end list. So he's a guy that I've been pretty high on. Taking a look at my team here, 4 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks. I think I'd like to get Schultz maybe on my next pick. I could probably wait another round. And I only got to get past you. Team 7 here. But if it comes back to me, I only got to get past you. You haven't been drafted Schultz at all this year. So that might be a gamble to take. I don't think I've drafted Allen Robinson at all this year. He is somebody that I haven't wanted to draft. I don't trust him after the bad year last year. it feels like a worrisome kind of situation, but it's hard when everyone around just talks so highly of him. It's hard to hold firm on your opinion of not liking him when everyone else in the world likes him. So I'll take a shot on him here. I haven't drafted him at all. I don't think we've done a lot of mocks, so, I could be mistaken, but we'll grab him here as my third wide receiver, a little bit more comfortable in that situation. Given it's only 8 teams and he could be my third. Tua goes. Ooh, a lot of wide receivers here. So Tua goes, and then Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Amon-Ra St. Brown starts the 10th. DeAndre Hopkins, 10:02, and then Marquise Hollywood Brown. So I am back on the clock. So I am sitting in that gamble situation. If you're the only one without a tight end, I could grab Dalton Schultz here, but you haven't been drafting him. So I've either saying that and you're going to do it to smite me, or you just haven't had the opportunity, or maybe I'm right. I think I will roll the dice and just see if he can get back to me. No, I'm not. I'm going to draft him because I'm pretty sure I've had too much luck, and whether you like him or not, you're going to try to screw me. So I'm just drafting Dalton Schultz. I've been pretty high on him just because, there's a lot of, Mari Cooper's, all the vacated targets there. Gallup's not so great. You got the rookie and Tolbert there. So I think he's got a lot of upside this year.
My Jedi mind trick worked on you there.
Darn it.
No, I mean, he would definitely been in consideration in the next round. But this first round here, I think the way my team is made up, I've got the strength at running back, quarterback is solid with Stafford and Wilson. I think I want to get more of like a shoot for the moon type of guy here at the wide receiver position, and maybe 2 rounds in a row. But I think the big play here for me that could be a league winner is Michael Thomas this late in the draft, getting him as what could be my third receiver with this core of running backs is just too much to pass up on. And, if there's still some other upside guys at receiver like Elijah Moore or Devonta Smith, Rashad Bateman, they'd all be awesome as well to get. But I think we know Michael Thomas can be a top 5 guy in the league. And, if he gets back to that, it would be huge here for my team. So going to lock in Michael Thomas first. A lot of receivers go. Darnell Mooney, Gabriel Davis, Elijah Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Adam Thielen, and Juju Smith-Schuster. So Elijah Moore is the big miss there, unfortunately. But still have a couple of good young receivers in Rashad Bateman and Devonta Smith available here. Running back still have Chase Edmonds, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan. So at some point we'll probably want to get a third quarterback, but definitely hold off here. Tight end, TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Pat Freiermuth. So still some solid options, even if someone does go with a second tight end coming up here. Still okay, I think, in that end of that tier. So I think for me, it's going to be grabbing another receiver, getting that fourth one locked in, and comes down to either Rashad Bateman or Devonta Smith. Considering that I have an Eagle already in Miles Sanders and no Ravens, I'm going to keep that spread out diversification in there for myself, and I think they're both pretty close for me. But both probably will be on the lower end when it comes to passing volume. Both probably are the number 2 in their offense, behind Mark Andrews and behind AJ Brown. So I'll keep that diversification here. I think Bateman should be due for a big step up. Smith as well, but I haven't had Bateman too often yet here, so I'm gonna lock him in. And it's back to you.
Yeah, that makes the decision kind of tough. Devonta Smith definitely in play. Ayuk is here and interesting. He's been getting a lot of hype, but Debo's also been missing, so who knows? Wide receiver or running backs haven't gone at all. Chase Edmonds still here.
Chase, yeah, we had a round and a half, 2 full rounds actually.
Yeah, Chase, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I'm looking at these wide receivers.
I'm feeling very good about my 8th and 9th pick right now. It's just like the tier ending.
Yeah, for real. And then for me, I'm looking at the team after me. He's only got 3 running backs. In fact, 3 running backs, 3 running backs, and 2. So I think I'm going to roll the dice there. I don't want Ayuk. I like Ayuk. I just don't trust the training camp hype right now because Debo hasn't been in. But he could be in play. So it's really just Devonta Smith that I'll be missing out on. And I'm okay, clearly, with an Allen Lazard or Kadarius Toney or something like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and grab my running back of choice, as I imagine more are going to start going right now. And it's between Chase Edmonds and Kareem Hunt. Both are pretty close, but I think Chase is going to be the guy I'm going to draft here. I don't think I've drafted him at all this year. I'm not high on him, but I'm not low on him either. He's just kind of in the middle, and I tend to find somebody else I like more in this area of the draft that I'd rather grab, like an Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, Juju, Bateman, Devonta. Like, there's always just someone else. But to grab my fifth running back, for it to be Chase Edmonds, a guy that should be the number one, has some pass catching, maybe an emerging offense. I think that's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and lock in Mr. Chase. Let's see here. The gamble doesn't totally pay off. Tyler Lockett, Brandon Ayuk, Clyde Edwards-Helaire go. That ends the 11th. To start the 12th, we got Damian Harris, Devonta Smith, and Cordarrelle Patterson. So Devonta Smith almost made it back to me.
Would have been big.
It would have been. We're still looking at Drake, London, Christian Kirk, Allen.
Would you have taken Bateman if I went Smith there, or would that have been pretty much the same decision?
It would have been the same decision. Now, if you didn't go with either of them and say you did something like Brandon Ayuk, you bought into the hype, or maybe Juju fell to you, that would have made the decision all the easier, because then I would have been happy with both Bateman and Devontae. But no, it wouldn't have changed anything. Now I'm sitting here, I'm looking, my wide receivers are Diggs, Pittman, and Allen Robinson. I could hedge Allen Robinson with my boy Allen Lazard. I think that makes some sense, but Kareem Hunt's still here.
Tough to pass up Hunt.
It is, but at the same time, like, so was Pollard and Penny and Melvin Gordon. And I feel like I could just grab the wide receiver I want, and one of these running backs should get back to me. I mean, I feel like these running backs got to start going eventually.
Yeah.
Let's take a little peek at quarterback. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan, Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Carson Wentz. Nothing that's all that exciting. So we'll keep waiting there. I'm going to draft Allen Lazard. He's the wide receiver I want. I like him in combination with Allen Robinson. That way, if Allen Robinson is a bust, I can rely on Lazard. He's my fourth wide receiver, potential flex play. I like that for this team. So let's go ahead. We'll lock him in there. We'll see what gets back to me. You are back on the clock.
Well, you made it easy for me because it was down to Kareem Hunt or Allen Lazard. So I'm going to lock in Kareem Hunt here. He will be my sixth running back with 4 wide receivers on the team so far. So I'll be looking at probably either wide receiver or tight end, depending on if any of them go here on this turn. So Kareem Hunt, Deshaun Watson, Ken Walker, Devin Singletary, Trevor Lawrence, Tony Pollard, Rashad Penny. So take note, we have a few teams grabbing their third quarterback here, but no second tight end just yet. So it gives me still some flexibility to play with there. James Cook, Melvin Gordon, Ramondre Stevenson, top guys at the running back position. Drake London, Christian Kirk, Kadarius Toney, Robert Woods. Still have some flexibility at the tight end position. I like Hockenson, Goddard, and Ertz. So I'd imagine one of them probably gets back. So I think I'm going to pass one more time there and get another receiver here, given that I just got 4. And that's going to be Drake London. Big upside play here for the rookie and in Atlanta. And it's him and Kyle Pitts are really the only options there. So you take a shot on him if he's the guy. Big hit this late in the draft. If not, it's not going to make or break the team. So I'm not going to be relying on him at all. So locking in Drake London here as my 5th wide receiver.
Yeah, good call. So as bad as that was from a running back run standpoint, I was happy enough with all the options that somebody did manage to squeak through, and that's Melvin Gordon. As my sixth. Yeah, he's my sixth running back here. Eckler, Kamara, Zeke, Brees Hall, Chase Edmonds. I like Melvin Gordon. It looks, again, not a 50-50 split. The practice reports right now are 55-45. It's close enough to 50-50 for me. It seems like it's going to be pretty similar to next year. And I believe I read that Melvin Gordon was getting a lot of the pass catching work right now in training camp, or either that, or he looks like the better pass catcher. I forget what the report was, but something's going his way in the realm of pass catching, and that doesn't hurt either, especially
keeps him relevant for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good depth play here for me. And some upside. If Javonte Williams goes down, I think Melvin Gordon is probably not a top guy, but he's I would imagine a higher end running back too on that offense, unless they bring somebody in to spell him. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there. See what gets back to me. Justin Fields goes, Treylon Burks, Michael Carter, James Robinson, Robert Woods, Ramondre Stevenson. So at the running back position, we got James Cook, Naeem Hines, Alexander Mattison, J.D. McKissick, Darrell Henderson. So kind of in that meh pass catching kind of area there. Christian Kirk, Kadarius Toney, Chase Claypool, Russell Gage, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Chris Olave. So we're fading on all tiers here. I think it might be time for me to grab my third quarterback. I'm doing it a little bit earlier than I'd like because I drafted Trey Lance. And I think it's tough. It's tough looking at Jameis Winston and not thinking about the gunslinger Jameis Winston.
Yeah. I did see he rolled his ankle today. I didn't see anything specifics. So, obviously, we'll know before real draft season to, whether that's a major injury or not.
Yeah, and I don't know what to think. If he was still with Tampa Bay, I'd probably draft him here because I knew he'd throw 50 touchdowns and 50 interceptions, and I'll take that. But not knowing what the offense is going to look like has me kind of worried. So I think I'm going to grab Matt Ryan, believe it or not. I don't know what his upside is. Matt Ryan's not done. I think he could probably still end up being a back end one. A lot of people look last year and be like, well, what did he do last year? Who were his weapons last year? He didn't have anyone. He's not going to be any good, where he's got some decent people around him this year. So I think I'm going to draft him. It feels gross. Part of me really does want Winston more. And maybe because of that, I will roll the dice and just see if maybe one of them goes and one gets back to me. So I'm going to draft Kadarius Toney. Draft him all the time. Nice high upside shot for me at the running back position. And then we'll see if a quarterback goes. If they both go, that would suck. But if one goes, it makes the decision all that much easier. So, we'll lock in Kadarius Toney and see what gets back.
All right. So for me, I am also thinking about the quarterback position. Given that two teams just took their third one behind me, I think got some flexibility that, maybe only one goes before it gets back to my turn. And I am not going to gamble on teams taking their second tight end any longer. Going to lock in my first tight end here in TJ Hawkinson. Thrilled to get him this late in the draft here in the 14th round. So I'm just going to lock that one in here and take a look. And look at that. Another tight end goes. So James Cook, Isaiah Spiller, Alexander Mattison to end out the 14th round. Russell Gage, Dallas Goedert, and Christian Kirk back to me. So no quarterbacks went. I'm happy to see that. I am thinking a little differently than you because of the way my quarterback's set up. Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, pretty confident there. So I want to look a little bit more upside. So I'm going to look at a younger guy like Mac Jones or Zach Wilson and see if this is, their kind of step into the limelight years going into year two. And I'm going to bet on the weapons of Zach Wilson here over Mac Jones, but Mac's solid as well. And wouldn't mind grabbing, Mac Jones or a Matt Ryan or somebody a little bit later as well. But I think Zach Wilson, grabbing him as my third quarterback, taking a real upside shot on the Jets here. And if they hit, it looks like Elijah Moore is looking great in camp. And if we can get Garrett Wilson looking good, Brees Hall looking good, Jets could be back. It's weird to say, but it comes down to, is Zach Wilson the guy? And then I'm going to bet on that as my third pick. And Fantasy Pros tells me that was a steal here at this stage of the draft, Steve. Not going to lie.
I think that's fair. I mean, they put weapons around him, right? That's what you want to see. So I would agree. I think the pick makes sense. Although I do like one more. So I've been doing some thinking here. I think Jameis is the one I want. I think Jameis has more upside than Zach Wilson because we've seen him be crazy before. And I'm just thinking, I'm comparing the options here, and Matt Ryan's probably safer because, he's a good quarterback, great quarterback, really. But Jameis, man, Michael Thomas getting a lot of good reports. Chris Olave getting a lot of good reports. The ever reliable Jarvis Landry's there. Troutman's still there. I'm sure the hope is faded, but maybe a post-hype sleeper situation. Alvin Kamara's looking like he'll be playing all year. Like I said, that's a stacked offense right there. Where Matt Ryan's got Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines. Like it's less exciting. So Jameis is gonna be the guy that I'm drafting here as my quarterback 3. Oh, I got the little steel icon too.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I feel justified now. So he is in there. Chase Claypool goes. Garrett Wilson, Mac Jones rounds out the 15th. Zach Ertz, Chris Olave, and Darrell Henderson start the 16th round here. So running backs, we got Nyheim Hines, J.D. McKissic, Ronald Jones, Kenneth Gainwell, Dameon Pierce. Wide receivers, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Boyd, Sky Moore, Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry, MVS, Rondell Moore. So in the kind of grossy tier, I'm looking. I would like to add Devontae Parker. Maybe take a roll of the dice on MVS or Sky Moore. But I feel like the savvy Will is looking at someone. I'm going to try to strike first, and you have to tell me if he would have made it back to me. But I'm going to draft Dameon Pierce.
Solid, yeah. I probably would have taken him one of my next 2 for sure.
Yeah, he's getting some good reviews out of camp. Some really good reviews, which, to be fair, his competition is Marlon Mack, who's never looked the same after the Achilles injury, and Rex Burkhead, who's
Sexy
just
Rexy, come on.
Yeah, touchdown guy, whatever. In the Houston offense, that's not all that valuable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it just seems like a starting running back late, and he'll probably just end up being a depth piece. But a starting running back nonetheless. So we're going to go ahead and lock him in there, grab another running back. You're back on the clock.
Yeah, good pick. I mean, I really had to like the grouping of running backs that are here. Yeah, he probably would have been the only one really considered. I mean, Mostert's not a bad shot to take here, but I'm just still not thrilled about him and that whole backfield. There's just so many guys. And Kenny Gainwell, I think, would be a great pick here. I've already got Miles Sanders, so not going to double up there, but I think that's pretty good value for him too. But yeah, there's really not a ton. Mark Ingram a little further down, but I mean that's going to really come down to the suspension potentially of Alvin Kamara. So going to go back to the wide receiver well here. Had Mac made it back, I think that would have been a solid pairing Mac Jones and Zach Wilson up as my backup quarterback. But alas, I think the option here is to look at a receiver like a Sky Moore, Devontae Parker, MVS, or lock in that 4th quarterback, and I think that's the way I'm going to lean. Going to go with a tried and true Matt Ryan. Just get that safe option in here, and feel pretty comfortable at the position going forward with 4 locked in here to the team, and then we'll see which of those receivers, if any, get back. So Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill goes, Michael Gallup, Kenny Gainwell, Dawson Knox, Rojo, Nyheim Hines. So all the receivers get back to me here. Now we have 4 players left on the team each. And for me, I'm looking at grabbing either one of the Kansas City receivers in Sky Moore or MVS, or going ahead with I think I wouldn't call it a post-hype sleeper anymore, but someone that a lot of people are forgetting about is Devontae Parker there in New England. I think he's got a good chance to take over the number 1 role. They probably do want to use their tight ends more as well, so it may not be the flashiest offense, but they definitely do. Mac Jones was able to sling it around in Alabama. So, you give him some better weapons there. He's going to be able to utilize them. So I'm going to lock Devontae Parker here, grabbing I guess this would be my 6th receiver, and really keeping some balance there.
Yeah, it's a solid pick. That would have definitely been mine. So that is a shame. I do want to turn to the receiver position as well, given I have a lot of running backs here. So normally I would probably be drafting MVS here. Sky Moore is beginning some good news. He is the wide receiver that another team did not discard. So that's kind of nice for him, I think. MVS, we've said it before every time we go to draft him. Like he's got a big opportunity now. They paid him, but he had a lot of opportunity before. And the ball's not going to be thrown any different. Like he's got a dropping problem. So I think I'm going to take a shot on Sky Moore. I don't have any rookies. I got another upside shot in Kadarius Toney, but I am fine having 2. He'll be a bench player, so we can sit and wait a few weeks to see what emerges there. So we'll go ahead and lock in Mr. Sky Moore. We'll see what gets back to me. I'm debating whether I want to do 2 tight end. I hate drafting a tight end early and then drafting another one late because I feel like that late one's never going to get used. But in a deeper league like this, I don't, I could draft like a Cole Kmet and it feel kind of okay. I don't know. Baker goes.
I mean, even if everyone takes 2, it's like it just feels like you're limiting upside by getting a second tight end. What's only 8 teams?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the worry. So I probably won't, but it's crossed my mind. Baker goes off, Pat Freiermuth, DJ Chark, Raheem Mostert, Tyler Algier, and JD McKissick. So not a lot changes in that wide receiver landscape. The running backs, Khalil Herbert, Jamal Williams, Marlon Mack, Gus Edwards, Rashad White, Darrell Williams, Mark Ingram. So not a lot to love there. So I'm gonna pull a Will. I'm gonna grab my 4th quarterback. Wait, do you have 3 or 4? You got 4. You drafted too early. So yeah, I'm gonna pull Will. I'm gonna draft my 4th quarterback, and the one I like most out of this grouping would be Daniel Jones. Pretty good wide receiver core. Younger, good running back, new offense. I like the upside he presents more so than a Wentz or Goff or Davis Mills, Trubisky, like really, well, maybe not Trubisky, but most of the other options. So we'll go ahead and lock in Mr. Daniel Jones. I'm fine with him as my 4th quarterback, and you are back up.
Yeah, makes it easy for me. It was kind of part of the strategic play there is it was between Parker and both of the Kansas City receivers. Figure there's a better chance that one of those 2 make it back, given that you're not going to take both of them. So locking in MVS here, just taking my shot on the Kansas City wide receiver as well. Not really too much more to talk about there. Great offense, so if he's the guy, I'm set. Has the running backs go off the board here next. Rashad White, Marlon Mack, Mark Ingram at the turn with Jamal Williams, Carson Wentz, and Darrell Williams. So back to me here. Looking here, there is not a ton appealing. So like if I'm looking running backs, I'm just looking really pure upside guys. So looking at a guy. So
then I ask, Will, is Cole Kmet not more appealing than some of these other options?
I feel like I still probably would rather take a Zamir White or Tyrion Davis-Price, just because if they hit. You're like if it's they're that guy that hits early, that running back that hits early, you're not going to the waivers. Where more often than and you're not to. I'd rather like roster one of them on the back of my roster, even waiting mid-season for them to be the one that hits, than hoping that Cole Kmet is better than your starting tight end, who is that? Dalton Schultz. I mean, I feel like that's a big ask versus like one of these rookie running backs hitting.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm looking at grabbing one of these rookie backs. So I'm going to lean toward the later one here in the rankings and get your boy Ty Davis-Price in San Francisco, taking a shot on a rookie back and a backfield that traditionally, puts out some production. A lot of times it's spread out, but if he comes out and, looks like a young Raheem Mostert or Elijah Mitchell coming in and killing it. They do go with the hot hand often as well, so I'm going to lock him in. And one more pick here for me, up to you.
So I will let you know, since I'm the 49ers fan and got all the inside information. I haven't heard anything about Davis Price.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it Sermon?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them. The focus is so intensely on Trey Lance and Brandon Ayuk that I don't know what's happening in the other positions. I know Mitchell's looked good. I think I heard something about Sermon once. Jeff Wilson had a good cut and run the other day, but I haven't heard anything on Price. So I don't know if they're, the hype's just elsewhere or if he really isn't doing anything. I don't know. It's I wish I could say I've seen some more. It would definitely make this a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But here I am back on the clock. The running back position, pretty dry. It hasn't really changed all that much. Devonta Foreman, maybe a nice injury play on CMC. Zamir White, you mentioned, is an interesting option. Damian Williams, maybe. Jerick McKinnon had a good playoff with Kansas City. Maybe that's a play. At the running or the wide receiver position, Jacoby Myers is still here. I haven't taken a shot on the Patriots offense, so that's a nice play. Boyd, he's a good wide receiver. He just lacks upside. Same with Jarvis Landry here. Kenny Golladay, maybe. I think I'll take a shot on Kenny Golladay here. This is super late for Kenny G. If a lot of his issues were injury related, he could get on the same page with Daniel Jones. New, coaching staff fixes something there. I can see him being pretty good. So I think I'll take Kenny G. This is second to last round. It's definitely, better him than like a Robbie Anderson or Corey Davis or Julio or something. Like, I don't think he belongs in this tier. So that in fact ended up being a pretty easy pick. Kenny Galladay's in. More running backs going off the board. Gus Edwards, Khalil Herbert, Kenyon Drake, and then Van Jefferson, Brian Robinson, and Jarvis Landry. I am back on the clock. Not a lot of interest here. KJ Osborne is here. George Pickens, we mentioned. Hardman, if you want to take a shot on Hardman. Nico Collins, if you like that. Joanne Dotson, if you want a rookie. The running back position, nothing's changed. Well, a lot's changed. A lot of people just went, but also nothing's really changed. Like Davis, maybe if you think there's going to be an issue with Gus, but he came off the pup, so that's a pretty good sign or not Gus, Dobbins. Wow. So yeah, I think I'll take KJ Osborne. Me and you have been drafting him with our last picks. I might be sniping you here. I hope I am. But he's a fine upside shot.
Yeah, another solid pick there. Looking at a receiver as well, probably going to go Jahan Dotson or Pickens, and I'll go with the camp hype here right now. It seems like Pickens looks good. He was one of the top guys coming into the draft, and talked about him at the beginning of the show, so I think it's only appropriate that he gets a little bit of hype here at the end as my last pick. So we'll lock in George Pickens, and I can't get back to the draft log to see who was taken at the end. Let's see.
What grade did you get?
I got an 85B. What did you get?
I got an 86B.
Man, they always try to keep us close.
Yeah, that's the truth. So the draft board, it had Tyler Boyd, Christian Watson, and Mecole Hardman.
Fun picks.
Yeah. Did you manage to get back to the board?
No. Well, I got to my team somehow, so.
Okay, good enough. We'll take that. So you were drafting out of the 4th spot. You want to read off your team here?
Team strengths. There we go. Yes, so quarterback, we got Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Zach Wilson, and Matt Ryan. Running backs, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, and Tyrion Davis-Price. Wide receiver, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman, Drake London, Devontae Parker, MVS, and George Pickens. Rounding it off with TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Overall, pretty happy with the team. Initially, right after I took Stafford, I figured I probably could have waited a little bit longer and gone with Deontay Johnson or DJ Moore and then still gotten like a Sutton, make my receiving core a little bit deeper. And whether it's Stafford or Lance or Carr, I still could have gotten a solid QB2 there. But overall, other than that, I'm pretty happy with the team. I mean, it's probably going to be, you got to like intentionally draft bad to not be happy with your team in an 8-teamer. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with how it turned out. How about you?
Yeah, I'm loving my team. So quarterbacks, we're looking at Lamar Jackson, Trey Lance, Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones. At the running back position, Eckler, Kamara, Zeke, Breece Hall, Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Dameon Pierce, end list. Wide receiver, we got Diggs, Pittman, Allen Robinson, Alan Lazard, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Kenny Galladay, KJ Osborne, and then at tight end, Dalton Schultz. I'm looking at my starting roster and I really like it. But like you said, it's an 18 league. You're probably going to exit liking your roster. But I'm loving it. As you were talking, I did double back to that team I called out in the beginning, Team 7, that went Mahomes, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek, James Conner, and David Montgomery to start. And I don't like what they did.
No, it didn't look great by the end.
They grabbed J.K. Dobbins, which is another good running back, but then they never drafted another one until the 18th round in Tyler Algier. They drafted, what was that, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running wide receivers straight.
8, yeah.
Like, that is insane. So they ruined that team, sadly.
I don't know if it went that way, though, because mine is kind of weird, too. Like, I took Zach Wilson before Matt Ryan, but it put Matt Ryan ahead of him.
Like, oh, no,
I'm looking here. You're looking at the draft board.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I can see the board. It definitely went that way.
Weird.
Which, like, to be fair, those wide receivers, Amari Cooper, that was a bad decision. But DeAndre Hopkins, Brandon Ayuk, Devonta Smith, Treylon Burks. So, like, Chris Olave's in there. Like, he got some upside shots in there, wide receiver. But
and I don't hate going just 2 quarterbacks when you have Mahomes and then Derek Carr. But yeah, I mean, you could have done much better with getting those extra players on your team.
Yeah, they waited to prop Freiermuth at tight end. So maybe you swap out Amari Cooper, plug a Dalton Schultz or a TJ Hawkinson in there. You got a good, maybe that helps a little bit. I'd really like another wide receiver, but anyway, that's the other stupid computer team. Fun exercise. It's been a while since we did an 8-team league.
Yeah.
Makes things a lot easier.
It does. Everyone comes away liking their team.
Yeah, they do. But the roster's, so big in this league with the 3 running backs, the 3 wide receivers, the 2 flex, the 2 quarterbacks. It makes it interesting. So it's, I'd imagine this is a pretty fun league. Cool. Well, that is going to take care of today's episode. Got a few more weeks of mock drafts left until the league starts. So tune in next week for another mock. Until then, trust your board.